I was very sure about the fact that, I wanted a good job, but I wanted to do something on my own. I had no clue, no idea where I would land up. But I was very sure that one fine day I would do something on my own. And music had always been one of my likings, and I was very fascinated with the music industry. Besides being a software engineer, I was a DJ, so that gave me insight into a new industry, which is the hospitality industry. The investment that was required for that project was asking us to go all out. Not just whatever money we had, but we had to take loans, we had to swipe our cards, do everything, and go all out. And there's all likelihood that we might fail because we're a first generation entrepreneur, no idea of being a businessman.
Absolutely.
But there's one thing that I ask myself, today I have an opportunity to do something on my own. Either I do it today, or I repent my whole life that I had a chance of doing something on my own, I'd never do it.
Hello, friends. Welcome to this exciting session. I have a very special person with me today, a serial entrepreneur. This person did his MS from BITS Pilani and then worked a couple of years in a software job. He was a computer engineer, and then he decided to open a restaurant. All of a sudden, he decided to open a restaurant that was in Bangalore in 2004. He's been in multiple projects ever since. I mean, he's been a professional DJ. Yeah, he's been a professional DJ, recorded over 100 songs. He's been into spas, into lounges, into restaurant, and currently he's also the co-founder and CEO of a brand, Würfel, which is a lifestyle brand and into modular kitchens, and he's rapidly expanding throughout the country. So I have with me a very dear friend, Khanindra Barman, and I lovingly call him Barman. So that's what you will hear me from my side. Welcome, Barman, to this show. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Vikas. I'm so happy to be here today.
So, Berman, though I have known you for a while, but for the benefit of people who are really watching you for the first time on this medium, though you're a very popular figure, I understand in your circle, you really are a popular person. But out of curiosity, my first question to you as to what was the inspiration for you? I mean, you graduated from a very good college, and computer science was the in thing in those times, right? 2000, 2001. So you were in a very comfortable position in a good job. What really prompted you? What inspired you to get into business?
Well, I would sum it up by saying that, I had dreams and I always believed in following my dreams. For some reason, anyway, I am the first generation of entrepreneur in my family. Though my dad was from the service industry, he retired as a branch manager in State Bank of India. He was highly enterprising and active in life. So probably I got it from him.
Okay.
But since my college days, way back in NITK as well as in BITS Pilani, I was very sure about the fact that, I wanted a good job, but I wanted to do something on my own. I had no clue, no idea where I would land up. But I was very sure that one fine day I would do something on my own. I started my professional career as a software engineer with Hughes Software Systems. That was way back in 2000, and I worked till 2004. But at the same time, in 2000, I also started a parallel career as a DJ in the evenings.
That was very interesting and exciting. I mean, as a 24 or a 25-year-old, into a DJ
Right.
kind of environment, that was really exciting, right?
No, I always believed in, being actively involved in something positive.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized that, I was working from 9 to 6 mostly, and sometimes late 9 also, late also. So I wanted to invest my time in something positive where I liked what I liked, and music had always been one of my likings, and I was very fascinated with the music industry, and I was not playing too many instruments during that time, but so I thought DJing sounds interesting to me, and I just started. I started my DJing career in this place called Turquoise Cottage in Delhi, actually, which is which used to be a very popular place. It's still existing in the name of TC. That's where I started. So that actually gave me an insight to the new industry. Besides being a software engineer, I was a DJ. So that gave me insight into a new industry, which is the hospitality industry. I started understanding the working of how it really works, how the business works. And it also gave me access to all the good chefs and the good managers and people who were developing restaurants. So being in that environment, I got pulled into that liking for being part of a restaurant or a nightclub or a lounge. So suddenly in 2004, me and my partner, Pankaj Bhatia, who is also my partner now, we used to work together in Hughes. We in the same project. I
Okay.
used to do the back end, he used to do the front end of one project.
Wonderful.
Very close friends. We decided ki, chalo, let's quit and, let's start. But, one thing that came to our mind, which I would like to share over here, which is very important for especially the newcomers, was that we were in a dilemma. Because at that time, quitting a handsome job
Obviously.
was not easy in 2004,
Sure.
We were in a dilemma that, whether we should quit or not. But we thought about one thing. The investment that was required for that project was asking us to go all out. Not just whatever money we had, but we had to take loans, we had to swipe our cards, do everything, and go all out. And there's all likelihood that we might fail because we're a first generation entrepreneur, no idea of being a businessman.
Absolutely.
But there's one thing that I ask myself, today I have an opportunity to do something of my own. Either I do it today or I repent my whole life that I had a chance of doing something on my own. I'd never do it, even try. Tomorrow, if I fail, I would at least be happy and convince myself that you had a dream. You tried to live the dream, you failed, it's fine.
Perfect.
That is still better than something haunting me that you had a dream, you didn't even try. So this line that, let me try. Worst case, if I fail, I go back to that same old life, but I'll be happy I tried, actually helped me to drive myself and give me the guts to invest everything possible we had and start our first business, which was a restaurant.
Brilliant. So I take your sentence. I mean, that's a very beautiful sentence. So better fail than repent later in life is what you went with. Brilliant. So now that you didn't fail, and you turned out to be a massive smashing hit. So again, so a logical fallout of the first one. So what do you think now that, Barman, you've been into so many different businesses? So what do you really feel are those top one or two ingredients or those top attributes? Which are those one or two top attributes that you would attribute to your success or to anybody's success in general?
Well, Vikas, let me just cut you over here and stop you for a moment. And let me also hear your side of the story. You being an entrepreneur yourself, I'll definitely come to your question. But why don't you also share the people who are listening to this video at this moment, watching this video, how did you decide to get into being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, again, I was in a regular job for very long, Burman, much longer than what you did. So I worked close to nearly 19 and a half or 20 years. So it somehow happened in 2016. I still remember one fine day, I just wrote a statement for myself, and the statement just read, to add value to the lives of millions of people across the globe. And that was a simple statement which I wrote. I didn't know what to do. And one of those days is when I got my first call from MDI Gurgaon for a guest session.
Mm-hmm.
And so I used to be my secretary during my college days, during my NIT Kurukshetra days. And I used to love organizing and speaking, all those events, right?
Yeah, I remember.
So 2016 was the time when I got this call from MDI. I went there for a session. Obviously, that call was for a particular subject in marketing. I mean, the session went off very, very well. And I got another call from the institute. They wanted me to come back again for another session. So I somehow realized I had written that statement some time back, which was to add value to the lives of people. I realized that this just might be the opportunity. I felt I was still good at talking and interacting with people. So why not choose this as a medium to add value? So I was still not very clear, though I left my job in 2018. But that was that was the trigger in 2016. And so it all started, and left my job in 2018. And here I am now talking to people across the world now, literally.
Well, I'm so glad to see the way you have suddenly moved, and I read your book and I saw your book. It's so inspiring, to see you moving in this direction. And honestly, not too many people today actually give up everything and think about also giving out and helping people. I'm really glad. I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you. So, would like to hear more from you because I have only been into one profession, but I am sitting across a person who's been into multiple professions. So, what do you think has been that single most attribute responsible for your success?
Well, being an entrepreneur, life has been good, and fortunately, things went the right way. We put everything possible from our side into our businesses. But it's very difficult to sum up a secret for a successful life in a word. Few of the keywords that come to top of my mind would be uh, to believe in yourself, firstly, okay, and then secondly, to be ethical, and thirdly would be to to be sincere and disciplined, but I would like to, since you're asking me about one attribute, I would like to pick being ethical.
Okay.
So why I am picking being ethical is that I've realized that many times in life, whether it's a business or in professional career where you're working, we are surrounded with complexities,
Sure.
and the least that you would like to do is add to the complexities.
Sure.
So I felt, to keep your life simplified, the
Mhm.
first thing you need to do is that be true. Be true to yourself, be true to your brand, be true to your customers and everybody who's involved. So I
Brilliant.
don't really have to, put extra brains into doing things. I want things to come naturally out of me. And honestly, because many times, people, even some seniors and some people, experienced entrepreneurs used to tell me, no, you have to be street smart. Yeah, you have to be street smart. You have to be smart in business. But you don't really have to, make up stories. If you have a strong, genuine story, it works.
Okay.
And I have personally experienced that, in the biggest of the deals that I have worked on, or in smallest of the talks that I had, being genuine and being ethical has really favored and worked things in my favor. So I would say that, it's always nice to start something on a very true note, and things will fall in place. That's what I always believed, and I strongly work on it. And that is my pick. For being successful, you have to just try to be ethical and honest and humble, and rest of the things, being positive and being sincere, it goes without failing. But this is something that I believe that, being ethical is very, very important. But what is your belief about it?
No, what you said is absolutely right. So, ethics and values will definitely be somewhere near the top of my list. But now, again, probably coming from the industry that I am, see, one thing which really drives me is the word that we call passion.
Wow,
So,
yeah.
I believe, yeah, ethics, values are definitely very, very important. But to really add to the icing to the cake, I would put that word passion because that's what really drives you. That's what provides you the energy, and I'm really sure. So, Barman, as you mentioned about you being a DJ, I mean, you
Yeah,
really can't be a DJ without passion. So, I understand. Even you have that word there in running in your
yeah,
veins.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
so I'm really all out for this word because when I see people, I've been a great fan of Steve Jobs as well. I mean, I've heard many of his interviews, and he, I mean, gave that beautiful sentence. He says, "People with passion can really change the world."
Right.
And he says that really is the slight difference between a person who's just an ordinary person versus somebody who's really successful. Because if you were passionate about your work, you really loved your work, you would really go out that distance. And even if you face adversities, you will not get bogged down if you're passionate about your work. So, I mean, that's one word which I said is like the icing to the cake. But yeah, the bedrock definitely is ethics and values. No two ways about
No,
that.
no, I completely agree with you, because for me also, if you ask me, I've never done or touched any business which I was never passionate about.
Brilliant, brilliant.
So passion definitely would top my list probably also, but yeah, I had to pick one. So I had to.
No, sure, sure. And now, obviously, it's been in the news. I saw one of your posts as well, and It's really good to be coming from a successful entrepreneur, and Berman is going to be launching his book, his maiden venture. And see, I've always believed in reading those successful entrepreneurs because they always have something up their sleeve. And so, Berman, I read about it in one of your posts, and you are recently going to launch your book. So I would request you to tell us something that you can really talk about the book, and what segment should be looking forward to reading your book, and why should they be considering reading your book. So something about your book.
Thank you, Vikas. Thank you for bringing this up. And it's just about time my book is getting released next week. That is first week of November. I'll be actually putting up the date on this Saturday, the release date. See, I was never a kind of a pro writer. So, but I was very expressive in whatever I used to do. And one real strong calling that I got probably last year. All these years, I have been doing so many businesses. I have worked on 22 projects, and then Würfel has also grown so much. But I got a very strong calling that, what's the point if we're not giving back? So this book is also a follow-up of that strong calling that I got, and I started working on it. I started mentoring a lot of new entrepreneurs. I started mentoring a lot of people who are already into businesses, but for some reason the business are not going as expected. So I tried my level best. I did all this socially, completely out of no financial benefits. And while working on this, I realized that, many entrepreneurs actually have very, very strong ideas.
Sure.
But they didn't have the basic branding knowledge. So what I mean is that, I'll give you an example. When people talk with friends in India, for example, if I want to start my own business or whatever it is, I'll go and tell my friend that, hey, listen, Vikas, I'm looking at starting my own business.
Sure.
Right? But if the same conversation in US or in Germany would be, hey, listen, Vikas, I'm planning to launch my own brand.
Okay. So the difference between brand versus business. Okay.
There is a cultural difference in thinking about branding and business. There's a cultural difference in our country.
Sure.
Probably it will take some time because we start businesses, we become entrepreneurs, but very few people would even, in fact, talk about launching a brand and creating a brand, which is very, very common in countries like US, Japan, and Germany. So I felt that, that part was strongly missing in a lot of entrepreneurs, and many people didn't really have the idea to how to streamline and start a new business.
Okay.
In fact, I forget about the people whom I mentored, but I myself faced similar problems when I started my own business, when I started my whole journey of being an entrepreneur. And I wish that there was someone next to me helping me out and telling me, and like the way when my release date for my book was nearing, I called you. I saw you have already released a book. I called you and I spoke to you and I took your help, and you were very kind enough to give all the information and help me out in giving all the details of how to release a book. So I wished in my old days that somebody was there next to me telling me things how to be done. We learned things a lot. We burned our hands and learned things. But during that time, I thought, if at any point of time in my life, if I had an opportunity to help the new entrepreneurs, I would definitely do anything possible to help them out. So those are the things which combine, and pandemic happened.
Right.
I can't sit idle.
Sure.
That's a basic problem of me.
Sure.
And I was actually wishing to write this book in a year or two.
Okay.
And it was in my head that I want to write a book. It was in my head. Suddenly when pandemic happened, I said, this is the time I need to write a book. And I started scribbling and I started writing, and now I have a book ready. So this book is about the hero of the story is a guy who is a young guy who wants to build his own brand, launch his own brand, who finds a very flamboyant mentor. And then they both started talking, and this book describes the whole journey of this relationship between the mentor and boy who wants to build a brand and eventually learns how to create a brand. So because I felt that, let me make the book little interesting by having a story into it.
Brilliant.
And in the process of reading a story, you learn how to launch a brand or how to launch your company. So this book is targeted for people who like fiction, number one, and number two, mainly for people who are looking to start their journey of being an entrepreneur. And the book is called A Boy and His Dream.
Wonderful. So literally anybody who's kind of thinking of creating his or her own brand, as you said, so
Right.
becoming an entrepreneur or thinking of creating your brand, be that in
Right.
service, be that in product, should actually be reading that book.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Brilliant, Burman. Brilliant. I got a new lesson today in terms of launching a business versus launching a brand. I learned something new from you today. So,
Yeah, because sorry for cutting you again.
yeah.
I would like you to actually, I know writing a book is a amazing feeling. It's a great experience. Because I've just written, completed it, and my
Sure.
first copy just landed yesterday.
Oh,
And you are also an author, and you released your book 3-4 months back. So how was your experience? Because at least share. I'm sure many people might get inspired to share their story and start writing books over here.
Burman, it was very similar to yours. So I never thought that I would really become an author till about last year. Never really thought that. But I had something in me which I wanted to express. And as you mentioned, I could relate to your story. And then the lockdown happened.
Yeah.
So believe me, I was like most of us who are on this, who might be just watching this video. I didn't know what to do. But then I suddenly realized I had a lot of things within me which I wanted to express. So it just happened. And I was very lucky, I would say, because there was nothing else to be done. So I could really squeeze those timelines and get everything sorted out. So from the day I started writing to my final publishing, it was less than 9 weeks. So I just made the
Wow.
most of it, and it turned out pretty well. So I mean, I am happy that it was meant for entrepreneurs, but it was read even by the students, even by people working in the corporate, even by professionals. So I really got a good response, and that's a very fulfilling experience. Now that you're
Nice.
talking about being an author, and lastly, because the profession that I am in terms of training, it really helped me crystallize many of my thoughts. Though
Right.
you know what you want to speak upon, but once you start writing, and once you start thinking deeply on what you're going to say, that really helps you clear many aspects which were there in your mind but may not have been very clear. So I
Right.
believe it's not just about writing a book; it's all about having a lot of that clarity in your mind as well. So that was about my book, and
Nice.
so Bhavan, one last thing. So you've started business at a very early age. Again, I really can't compare it to me. I started off after I was in 40s. You started at a very early age. So I really want to leave that one message for our next generation. Anything that you want to communicate to the next generation, what would that message be?
Well, first of all, as I said, keep following your dreams. Don't be scared to have your dreams and keep following your dreams. Work towards fulfilling your dreams. One very important thing that we need to take care, because in today's world, everything is instant in. Okay, sorry. In today's world, everything is on the spot. You want to order food, it comes to you within no time. You want to order online, it comes to you within no time. So we are habituated to getting things easily. But when you start your career as an entrepreneur or you're launching your own brand, things might look great at this moment from here, sitting at here. But when you reach there, things are different. You need time.
Sure.
Everything takes their own sweet time. So you need to have your patience, and you need to consistently be proactive in whatever you're doing and keep doing the things the right way, and success would definitely come your way. So don't give up in between, don't be impatient, and be proactive. Very important. You need to adapt yourself, be versatile and adapt yourself. And in your business, your brand should adapt itself to the surroundings. So that's it. Be positive, and there's always something good out of every moment in life. So just wait for it.
Brilliant. So, if I were to summarize for you what Burman just said, the last message: first of all, follow your dreams. Secondly, be proactive. be positive, and lastly, be patient, because anything that you're building takes time. It takes
Yeah.
time and more time and more time. So be
Yes.
patient, give it your time. Wonderful. Barman, I believe we've had a fantastic conversation. And I'm sure many people watching this video would learn a lot from your experience. So we were talking to a guy called Khanindra Barman, who was a professional DJ, a serial entrepreneur, co-founder and CEO of a lifestyle brand called Würfel. He's done multiple projects. He's been into restaurant business, lounges, spas. He's done everything on this world. And what he didn't mention, he's coming up with a new project in Goa. But we'll leave it for some other day. It was wonderful, Burman, talking to you today. Thanks a lot.
Same here, Vikas. Thank you for having me here. I'm really grateful that you felt that I could share my experience and somebody might help out of it. Thank you again. I was extremely happy to be here.
Thank you. See you.